Audio Jungle.
They bid me strike the lyre, so long now mute and broken, but not a note can I waken, nor will my muse inspire. She stammers coldly and babbles when tortured by my mind. She lies when she laughs and thrills, as she lies in her lamentation. For in my sad isolation, my soul nor frolics nor feel. There was a time, this true, but now that time is vanished. The indulgent love or friendship called me a poet too. Now that time there lingers hardly a memory, as from a celebration, some mysterious refrain, the hands, the ears will remain, of the orchestra's actuation. As scarce grown plant I sing, uprooted from the Orient, where perfume is the atmosphere, and where life is a dream. O land that is never forgotten, and these have taught me to sing. The birds with their melody, the cataracts with their force, and on the swollen shore, the murmuring of the sea. When my childhood days, I could smile upon their sunshine. I felt my bosom seething, a fierce volcano ablaze. A poet was I, for I wanted with my verses, with my breath, to say to the swift wind, fly and propagate her renown. Praise her from zone to zone, from the earth top to the sky. I left her my native heart, a tree despoiled and shriveled, no longer repeats the echo of my old songs of mirth. I sailed across the vast ocean, craving to change my fate, not nothing in my madness, but instead of what I will, I sought the sea around me wrought. The specter of death and sadness, the dreams of a younger hours, love, enthusiasm, desire, have been left under the sky. Of their fair flowers, oh, do not ask my heart. The languages, song of love. For us without peace I tread the desert of no surprises. I feel that my soul agonizes, and that my spirit is dead.
Title of the literary work in English, Tagalog, and Spanish. The literary work they asked me for verses. Title translation in Spanish is Mipiden Versus, and hinihingan ako ng tula in Tagalog. Brief history and origin of the literary work. Jose Rizal wrote this poem while a member of the Círculo Hispano-Filipino. They asked me for verses, or Mipeden Versus, represented his sadness at being able to lead emotions through his poems but being stifled and subdued by the powerful and tyrannical Spaniards. They asked me for verses, or Mipeden Versus, is a poem written by Dr. Jose Rizal to express his desire for his homeland, the Philippines. This poem, written in 1882, was read in Madrid's Círculo Hispano-Filipino on New Year's Eve, He penned this in response to a request for verses. He reminisced about his childhood. In the poem, he expresses how much he missed the Philippines and how difficult it is for him to leave his motherland. He was asked to write the poem by the members of the society. He used his poem to communicate his emotional feelings, and despite the fact that he no longer finds poetry simple to write, he tried to finish what he had started. He felt very sad during the time he was writing the poem, as if he was an outcast or separated from everyone. He felt lonely, as if his soul was being squeezed or torn into pieces. When he wrote something, it seemed to turn out a joke out of the great sadness. And this great sadness he could feel nor express himself well while writing and talking about his memories from the past that he cherishes and longs for. The poet Rizal is also mentioned in the poem, and the poetry mentions that he was born and raised in our own nation, the Philippines. This poem was written by Jose Rizal during a period of sadness, partly sadness for his homeland, but also love sickness for Leonor Rivera, his long-lost love. She was his sweetheart for 11 years and was probably the most influential and preventing him from falling in love with other women while on the road. Sadly, Leonor's mother disapproved of her daughter's relationship with Rizal, who was a known filibustero at the time. She kept all of Rizal's letters hidden from Leonor, who, believing Rizal had forgotten about her, reluctantly agreed to marry her mother's choice of marriage, Henry Keeping, an Englishman. Even after his martyrdom, Jose Rizal became a well-known poet. Rizal's work inspired zealous poets and authors throughout history. In the face of rejection and persecution, freedom of expression in any artistic or literary genre reveals from Filipino patriotism.
When was it published? They asked me for verses, published on March 31, 1889 in the La Solidaridad. Where was it written and published? In Madrid. Written at the request of Círculo Hispano Filipino members and delivered at the Madrid Filipinos New Year's Eve reception on December 31, 1882. The Solidaridad published it on March 31, 1889. What is the purpose and intention of Dr. Jose Rizal in writing the literary work? Me piden verses. They ask me for verses. Expresses his sadness at having the ability to lead emotions through his poems, only to have those sentiments suffocated and subdued by the powerful and repressive Spaniards. He found it difficult to find inspiration as a poet who frequently wrote about his beloved homeland when he was requested to do so. He is concerned that he would appear silly for not being able to find the right words. But he gets on to emphasize that he still loves his nation and the friends he has made over his life.
Dr. Jose Rizal's poem was dedicated to his family's loneliness and to Leonor Rivera, who did not allow to or write a letter to our hero in Madrid. To the Filipinos who suffer at the hands of the colonies. his love in our motherland and to his heart's agony. To deliver to the readers that living away from family is uneasy. There are several hardships and issues that one has when living alone and away from family. Homesickness is one of the most difficult aspects of being away from home. Second, when writing poetry or a song, we may express our feelings. Writing poetry helps you to express yourself via written words. This is a fantastic method to let out the frustration and exercise creativity, and share thoughts and ideas with others. Finally, when we face difficulties, use them to improve our actions. In my simple research, I have found no conflicts or concerns in Rizal's writings. Instead, it's all about his struggles, loneliness, and agonizes.
What is your favorite line on the literary work? What made it significant to you? The first lines in the last stanza are what hit me the most. The dreams of younger hours, love, enthusiasm, desire, have been left there under the skies of that fair land of flowers. I believe it is when the poet, Rizal himself, realized that he had lost those happy memories back then. He is home together with the people he loves and cherishes the most. Reminiscence of his childhood back in their humble life together with his family, of how much he loved to play in their backyard and in his own nipa hut, watching the stars at night while Nanny or Mother tells him stories, to the times of his studies at his first ever school, remembering his friendship with his classmates, and most of all, being all together with his family. All of those were left behind back on his own adored motherland. All in all, it's just like everyone remembering our childhood days, where we wouldn't think of any other else than to play, explore, be with our friends, and of course, to be loved by our family. When we reminisce about the past, it is all happiness we think about, and we yearn for it always once we grow up and face life. We will always wish we can go back to the good old days and at the same time realize that we can't. What is your personal overall interpretation of the message of the literary work? The whole piece just tells us how the author, Rizal, feels at those times he had written the said verse. He was just so devastated that he couldn't make it the way he wanted, showing how he find it uneasy to write a poem at the time. Rather, he just gathered all the feelings and emotions that he currently undergoes and just expressed it through this sorrowful piece. The depression he feels and the emotions he portrays, as he described how hard it was for him to write at the very moment, recollecting those precious moments back to his hometown with every people he had cherished, all the things that he would usually do, play, read books, observe the beauty of his surroundings under his own nipa hut, be with his parents, siblings, and friends. Now, he left all those precious things behind, far from his home country, far from where his everything is, just wanting to be back again. That shows how sincerely made this poem is, and just tells a lot about the author. It is said that through art, we can express our feelings, and it is the true formula to make a wonderful art piece. This is how the poem was made.